Hello, this fanfiction is a My Hero Academia fanfiction written by me, Eddie Casbrack Boy. In this fanfiction, it dwells into the traitor theory and my own interpretation of it as an AU individually. This fanfiction includes some dark subjects that people may be disturbed by, such as abuse, strangulation, kidnapping, reference to drugs, and character death. You have been warned. When you realize you've been betrayed, fear really hits you. That's what you feel first, and then it's anger and frustration, then disappointment and disillusionment. This has to be some sort of irony, or maybe it was just a dream that she would wake up from. Yeah, right. Not even something as cruel as this would ever be a dream. She came looking to save the one person she held dear to her heart, and it turns out he didn't want to be saved. In fact, he didn't even need saving in the first place. He was with them, and this wasn't some elaborate joke he composed. Why would he joke about something as serious as being a part of the League of Villains? So now she was stuck in this room with her wrist chained to the wall, her sheets with all her weapons discarded into a pile at the front of the large door. It was like they were taunting her, and she felt incredibly useless as she did before. Even when fighting seemed like it was enough, it wasn't. She couldn't continue because she was afraid she'd die, and she really didn't enjoy being at the receiving end of his quirk. She still felt like he was going to come here any second to shock her. That would certainly go nicely with the chains keeping her restrained. She closed her eyes, listening to the silence. She couldn't sleep because the light was blinding and the fact she was injected with some sort of drug to keep her awake. How did they even have anything like that? The League shouldn't have had resources like that, especially since they were forced to evacuate to somewhere else after Dr. Bill was saved. It would only hurt more to think about it. She had to find a way to get out of here, but there was nothing that would help escape this predicament. She should have asked for backup before coming here alone. Of course, she had her hero's license, so there were no laws being broken by coming here. Though a solo mission wasn't the best choice, especially since she was still healing from her injuries after a combat exercise gone wrong during class. He obviously knew about it because he was doing it with her, and even carried her to Recovery Girl's office like he was her knight in shining armor. That was just the facade he knew how to play. Yankee Kaminari cares deeply for his friends and lover. That was a lie. Footsteps were approaching now as the door was harshly swung open. "Honey, I'm home!" Kaminari cooed with maniacal laughter while placing a bag on the floor in front of her feet, with the door swinging behind him. Her baby blue eyes flickered over to his face, lips turned downward in a frown. He grinned back at her. "What's with the wrong face, princess? You're usually so happy to see me. I guess it's because I lied to you. You know I had to." He acted like he had to keep himself a secret, but since his true nature was revealed, it left her with a nasty scar. Now she was hopeless and pathetic like usual. "You didn't have to work for them. You chose to work for them. You know what they've done to us, but you were with them the entire time. And everybody played right into my hand. This society is a game. You've got to play it the right way if you want to win. It's especially hard for villains because the heroes have a certain level of power. It really is unfair. It still leaves me perplexed as to why you wanted to be one to begin with. Didn't everybody in middle school bully you for your weak quirk while they praised people like Ashido for having something much more useful?" He was using words to hurt her. Listening to his remark arose memories that she tried to shove in the back of her mind. The hurtful words and the humorous laughter. "Even your daddy couldn't believe you. How funny is it that your biological father thought of you was weak? It's like he knew you weren't going to make it. I'm the only one who seems to care about you. Everybody else looks down on you, but I do everything I can to make you more confident in yourself. Do you want to go back to UA without me being there to hold your hand? You love me, don't you?" A dark shadow casted over his face while he waited for her to say exactly what he wanted to hear. "Yes, I do, but I don't want it to be like this. I want it to be normal, and I want you to let me go, and I want you to go back with me." "You really think it'll work like that? No, my darling. I'm going to keep you here, unless..." "No, you couldn't." He was confusing her. "What? You really want to know? Fine. You want freedom? You have to fight for it. Against me. I'm not easy to beat, but it'll still be fun." He sauntered over to her weapons and grabbed the large sledgehammer. You could crack somebody's skull open with this if you wanted to. Could you imagine how bloody a scene that would be? He took a swing with it, aiming it towards her and slamming it flat beside her head. Usami flinched, pupils dilating in pure horror. That face is so precious. You look so beautiful when you look at me like that. He took a deep breath, grabbing a ring of keys and reaching to unlock the shackles from her wrist. Usami fell down, but Kaminari made sure to catch her in his arms. You're looking kind of pale. This should make things interesting. With cruel intent, he removed his arms and watched her body fall onto the ground. He kicked the sledgehammer in front of her. I was being serious. If you can manage to beat me, I'll let you go. But if I win, you'll stay here till the day you die. He stepped back, waiting for Usami's move. Usami used the handle of her sledgehammer to help herself off the ground. I understand. She stood up, eyes glaring at him. She felt like her bones would break any moment. He didn't even say anything, just waited for her to move. Grating her teeth, Usami charged with the sledgehammer, swinging it towards his body. Kaminari maneuvered out of the way, causing her to smack into the brick wall. Another laugh erupted from his throat, and she turned as fast as she could. Using his quirk, Kaminari released a ball of electricity, and it landed a direct hit in her chest. A scream left her mouth, body beating a spasm as she swung his foot into her side. She fell to the ground, still holding onto the sledgehammer. It was her only source of power she had, and she couldn't afford to let go of it. Kaminari came towards her as she struggled to move the weapon. He caught the long handle in his hand and ripped it out of her grasp with ease. With a crunch, Usami shoved it her feet into his chest. It didn't have much effect, only managing to slightly knock him off balance. It allowed her to get up, but his power physically wounded her. Why are you doing this, Stinky? I don't want to fight you. Don't make me laugh, Usami. If you didn't want to fight me, you wouldn't be trying so hard to defeat me. But you're not going to win. I know you. You just want somebody to love you. That's all you've ever wanted, because your daddy didn't love you enough to support your dream. Because everybody you've ever known has made it their goal to knock you down. I'm the only one who cares about you. Without me, you have nothing. Not even our so-called friends have your back, and they certainly don't care that I'm gone, or they would have looked for me like you did. She couldn't listen to his words. This was a form of manipulation that he knew would work on her. Usami closed her eyes and stopped the tears from falling down her face. She dropped down to her hands and knees. I love you, Dinky, and I refuse to fight, but you can't keep me here forever. I already took care of that. They think you ran away and you're not coming back, so you're stuck with me. You did what? My future. Everything I've worked so hard for. You're ruining my life. She couldn't believe what she was hearing from him. I'm ruining your life? That's really funny, Usami, because my life was already ruined when all I decided to let my parents die in front of me. Do you know what that's like to watch two people you care so much about get slaughtered right in front of your very eyes? It does things to you. You can't get it out of your head because it's been permanently burned into your brain. It haunts you and it never disappears until you lose your mind completely. So you're going to say your life's ruined because you don't get to be a hero who contributes to this toxic, heroic society. You are never going to make it as big as Bakugo or Midoriya. Hell, you probably wouldn't even get past Mineta. If anything, I'm doing you a favor. You should be grateful that I love you so fucking much that I ruined your dream before they could get crushed. He walked towards her, crouching down on the ground in front of her. He lifted up her chin and looked into her eyes. You shouldn't be crying, Usami. I really do care about you more than it seems, but you've got to understand why it has to be this way. At least you don't have to worry about what everybody else thinks about us now. I know what the girls talk to you about. I know they don't understand how much you need or depend on me. They'll never know that the love we have is stronger than their own sense of justice or morality. Don't say that. I don't need you, she cried out, grabbing his wrist and flipping him over her shoulder. She scrambled to get her weaponry, running to grab one of her knives. He was stunned for a moment, golden orbs staring up at the ceiling before psychotic laughter bubbled out of his throat. You're doing a really good job of trying to convince yourself of that, but you're so wrong, Usami. You've been listening to their lies for far too long. They poisoned your brain. I need to fix that. Her hand shook while holding the knife and his eyes glanced over at her. No, I haven't been listening to their lies. I've been listening to yours. If you lied about being a hero, then you have lied about other things. I can't trust anything he says anymore. I'm not going to listen to you any longer. Azura walked down the hall to the Highlight's door, stopping at Usami's door to wake her up. Of course, they didn't have any classes today, but she'd been acting so weird for weeks because of Kaminari's disappearance. It seemed to hit her hard the most, and he was getting worried about her. Curling his fingers, he rapped his knuckles against the door. There was no answer coming from the door. "Usami, I'm coming in," he called through the door, twisting the knob and entering the room. Her room was a ransacked mess, clothes and other belongings scattered around the area. Approaching the bed, he noticed his sketchbook cracked open. On a piece of paper was a note written in fancy cursive. It was definitely Usami's handwriting. He picked up the book and his eyes scanned the words. "Dear friends and classmates, this might just be the hardest thing I've ever had to write. Things are a mess and I'm pushing past my breaking point. There's no room for me here. I am not worthy to walk through the halls of UA each day and act like I deserve to be there. I'm weak compared to everyone else and I can't compete. My life has always been a mess. My father practically hates me and my quirk doesn't serve well for a hero. The only person I can count on is Genki. But now he's gone and I'm so lost without him. It hurts to even try to move on. I'd rather die than never get to be by his side. I am running away. I am going to look for Kaminari and I'm not coming back. It's useless to ask the pro heroes for help. They'll never find me. The last thing I wanted was to hurt all of you, but this is the difficult kind of decision I've been thinking about for a while. With as much love as I can give, Usami Otanashi." Dropping the sketchbook, the world was slowly spinning on its axis. Time stopped completely. "Damn it, not again! I almost lost Bakugo and now I have to lose my childhood friend." Without thinking, Kirishima darted down the hall and took the flight of stairs rather than waiting for an elevator. She couldn't be running away. This wasn't possible. It was unfair. Why would she think of doing something so stupid? She could be hurt, or kidnapped, or dead. Stepping into the common room instantly evoked a question from Bakugo. "Oi, shitty hair, what's up with you?" Eijiro's body was shaking as he clenched his fingers tightly against his palm. "Usami ran away to look for Kaminari and she's not coming back. I have to go find her before something bad happens." He couldn't keep his emotions in check. Where would he begin looking for her? "What? Usami's missing? This isn't good," Mina replied in total shock. "Somebody needs to tell Aizawa that she's running away." "Calm down, you two. I'm sure there's a logical explanation for what's happening," Ida interjected while hearing Mina's response. "I know why she ran away. She thinks Kaminari is the only one who cares about her. But she wouldn't even know where to find him. The pros haven't even found him. What if the same thing happened to her?" Kirishima closed his eyes. He knew this was going to haunt him for a while. Her scream reverberated off the wall as she collapsed to the ground on her hands and knees. The blood bubbled from the deep gash while Kaminari stared at the crimson liquid. He stood there frozen. He remembered the last time he'd seen that much of blood. Why did it cause memories of his mother and father to resurface? Usami was not his parents, but that didn't mean anything. His gaze turned hard, eyes turning into a frightening glare, his emotions charged almost instantly. Without much thinking, Kaminari slammed his foot into her back. She screamed again, and this time he laughed. "You scream too much, Usami. Why don't you just shut that fuck up every once in a while?" An evilness gleamed in his eyes as he stared down at her. It filled him with utter disgust for himself. Why did he allow himself to be completely enamored by a wannabe hero? How could he even call this thing he was feeling love? It's not love, is it? He was incapable of it, but still, whenever he'd kissed her, it always felt right. Now he wasn't sure what to believe as he hurt her and felt the conflicting emotions of pulling her close and holding her in his arms like he did multiple times before. Love me. That's all I want is somebody to love me. The thought echoed in his mind, reminding him of the stale absence of a doting family. Nobody was here for him. He was alone. Sometimes he wanted to scream and pull out his hair. And her eyes looked so fearful, lips quivering as if he'd hurt her again. He wanted to. He wanted to hurt her a lot. He wanted to see her bleed, and he wanted to listen to her beg him to stop. He wouldn't stop even as her words blended together as nothing more than background noise. Blood. There was so much of it. He sat down on the concrete and concentrated his gaze on Usami's battered body. "This is your fault. You hypnotized me with your kind personality, seduced me with your body and pretty face. Was that your plan the whole time? So I'd let my guard down and forget about my mission?" His eyes glided across her body. Her black gloves slipped with her own blood, bruises all over her delicate skin that could rip like paper. "I'm not supposed to feel anything, but I do because of you. You're driving me insane. I'm going crazy and feral, and I just want to rip you apart." Then he let out a deep, frustrated scream, waving his fingers through his blonde locks. He was insane. He was a complete psychopath. Damn it, damn it, damn it! Why did you have to come looking for me? Why do I want to keep you here? It would be so much easier if I killed you. Maybe I should. That was when he suddenly lunged at her, pushing her to the ground and reaching towards her throat. His fingers wrapped around her and he pressed her to block the airway. Do you want me to kill you? You're the one who made me like this. I hate you for ruining everything. Her body thrashed underneath him while his brain went blank. All he could feel was an emptiness before releasing his grip as quickly as it came. Tears started dropping from his face and hitting her skin. Soon it turned into full-blown sobbing as he leaned his forehead on her chest. Look, Mommy, I have a quirk! Wow, Dinky, you're going to be so powerful when you grow up. It looks like we have another electric user in the family. Here is Lie. Come with me, child. I'll show you what this cruel world is like. All Might's fault. They're dead because of him, but I will avenge them. I'll kill All Might and destroy the symbol of peace. You don't understand. Nobody understands. I have to make them understand. That's why I'm doing this. His escalated heartbeat began to slow down, yellow locks falling in his face. His golden orb glanced up at the ceiling once more, listening to Usami taking oxygen again. It was such a disturbing sound, listening to her suck the life back into her lungs. He did not laugh at her pain, only continuing to stare at the ceiling. He didn't know how to feel anymore. Have to keep her here. Have to keep her here with me so I'm not alone. Then why do I want to hurt her so much? She makes me angry because she wants to leave and I can't let her go because she'll tell everyone. What should I do? What should I do? He stood up and went to walk away from his lover. You're going back to the dorms and you're going to send them a message. You're going to tell them that the villains are attacking. I'm sick and tired of waiting around and I'm going to call the shots around here. But first I have to deal with somebody. If he was going to get the results he wanted, he was going to kill Shigaraki to get him. She ran as fast as her feet would let her, slapping against the concrete as she ran through Mushichuba. There were eyes on her from citizens walking on the sidewalk. Isn't that a UA student? She was supposedly running away. It looks like she got caught up with the villain. Usami ignored their voices. She ran to the Headlines dorms. She knew Denki was being serious. The villains were going to attack them and they were not prepared at all. Gotta tell them. Gotta warn the others. The pro heroes have to be able to help. The building was getting closer while the exertion was catching up to her. With heaving breaths, she sprinted as fast as her legs would let her. A timer was ticking off in the back of her mind. It was only a matter of time before everything was ruined. Usami collapsed onto the ground in front of the dorms. The door immediately swung open as red eyes stared down at her. First there would be overwhelming shock appearing on Kirishima's face, and then that transformed into something bitter. Take these to you, a traitor, and they're planning an attack right now. The pro heroes have to know before it's too late. Tamura's red eyes glared toward Kaminari and stood tall against him. That little brat, he thought to himself, scratching the back of his neck. What do you want, Kaminari? He demanded, wanting an explanation as to why he was trying to intimidate him. You're ruining everything, Tamura. You never listened to me and we haven't gotten anywhere with anything. The heroes are still in control, Master's still in prison, and you're treating this like some fucking game. We both know who should be leading this organization, and it sure as hell ain't you. How dare he? How dare he speak to him like that? He was insignificant, a stupid kid coming in and acting like he was more important, like he was stronger than ever. Tamura always knew that All For One had taken an interest in Kaminari ever since coming upon him in the alley, but it wasn't on purpose. Tamura knew exactly what All For One did to corrupt him. His master told him to keep his mouth shut about it. If you tell Kaminari I was the one who got his parents killed, then you will be punished for your disobedience. Tamura would do anything AOF asked him to, because he was the only one there, the only one who brought him in after he killed his family, saved him from the people who blatantly ignored him while he wandered around the streets. They said some hero would save him, but they never did. And then a few years later, this 10-year-old kid came in and ruined everything. Ruined the plans he had, ruined the relationship with the only man who ever tried to care. Now he had the gall of trying to stand up to him. Tamura would not allow this. You're going to stand down and I'm going to take care of everything. And what are you going to do if I refuse, Kaminari? The blonde looked up at him, through his own locks, and smirked at him psychotically. I'm going to kill you. You don't deserve to be here, in control of everything. You may have been taken in by Master, but he didn't realize how much of a failure he would become. Electricity began to erupt from his palms and surround the atmosphere, causing his hair to stand up on end. So Kaminari wanted to play all big and bad. Tomorrow would disintegrate him into ashes. With anger boiling beneath his skin, Tamura charged Denki. He was quick though, maneuvering himself out of the way. You have to try harder than that, Shiggy. I am more powerful than you seem to think. You say you're going to kill All Might, then why haven't you done it yet? You obviously don't want him to be gone that fucking badly, but he shouldn't be much of a concern anymore since he's no longer number one.